Hello, everybody. I'm Connor, and welcome back. We haven't had this in a while, but we are going to be talking about the Oscars, and we are going to be talking about what movies are going to win. It's been a crazy year, obviously. Last year, I was finishing up film school, and I was working on my short film, Being Carter, and I had a lot on my plate, so I didn't do. Also, last year was a shorter season, so I didn't really have a lot of time in general. Um, and this year things are a little bit different. I've seen a lot of movies because I've had a lot of time, as we all have. Uh, and I am in pre-production, into casting stage now on my next project, which is a feature-length film, a fan film, Wolves: A Fan Made Life is Strange 2 story. Click here if you want to be involved in the cast. I'm still putting the cast together, but if you live in and around Franklin, Tennessee, please, we need as many actors as we can for this. Thank you. So with that out of the way, let's talk Oscars. And in case you're not familiar, I'm going to do this one day at a time, one category at a time. And it's a little bit different because this year there's 23 categories at the Oscars. 24 was a nice even number. It fit into a grid of 4 by 6 and it looked nice, but now it's 23. And that might take a little bit to get used to. Hopefully they add like a best stunt category so that so that it can be 24 again. But anyway, before we get into the nominations, I just want to say great nominations this year all around. Because we didn't have a lot of big movies this year, there wasn't a lot of movies with spectacle. The Academy had to go a little bit out of the. They had to look outside their comfort zone and award some smaller films. And there's a lot of really, really great films this year that got recognition, and that's really, really cool. With that out of the way, let's talk about our first category, which is Best Cinematography. And in case you haven't seen any of my videos before, I'm going to be ranking them. I'm going to be ranking all the nominees from least likely to win to most likely to win. So here we go. Fifth most likely to win is The Trial of the Chicago 7. So this film was shot by Fedon Papamichael. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is his second nomination after the film Nebraska. And this movie, the nomination is an interesting one. There's nothing particularly wrong about the cinematography in this film, but there's nothing about it that really stands out. It's a fine job. There's certainly worse movies you could have nominated, but it does feel like a coattail nomination. It just feels like, oh, we really liked the movie, so here's a nomination in cinematography. Compared to some of the other choices that were like some of the more passionate projects like First Cow or I'm Thinking of Ending Things, it does seem like it is the weak one of the lot quality wise. Again, no disrespect to the work. It's just it feels weird to be in this lineup. That being said, it's hard to really make a case for this winning unless Trial of the Chicago 7 was gonna be a big Best Picture movie and it was gonna be sweeping everything, which I think we know by now is probably not gonna happen. The movie, while respected, as shown by this nomination and a couple other nominations in other categories, it did miss out on director, and it has been kind of dwindling in support. It's not the huge juggernaut movie we thought it would be when it came out. And it hasn't won anything major, so it's losing a lot of support in Best Picture, and that leaves me to believe that it's probably not going to win this category. There's just, when you compare it to the other nominees, it's not the most inspired choice, and it would feel, I don't know if this won anything major. I don't know, it would be a very odd choice to win. So I am not predicting it, and I don't think you should predict it either. Fourth most likely to win is Judas and the Black Messiah. So this movie was shot by, I'm blanking on his name here, but Sean Bobbitt. Sean Bobbitt, and he was the DP on 12 Years a Slave, and was not nominated for that film, despite the fact that that movie won Best Picture, and the film was very well shot. So this is a long overdue nomination for Judas and the Black Messiah. And it's not the most obvious eye-catching cinematography out there. It's contemporary work. There's a lot of lot of very intricate uses of cinematography. The image that I showed is from the shootout scene, but it it's well done. It's certainly well done. I think the cinematography is not. It doesn't call your attention the way most nominees in this category will. In fact, the way the top three movies in this category do. But it's very good work, and I'm very happy for Sean Bobbitt. The fact that it's not the most eye-catching cinematography is what leads me to believe it's not going to win. Also, the fact that it wasn't nominated at ASC, which is the American Society of Cinematographers, and usually predicts what's going to be nominated and what's going to win. I don't know. It's good work. It's solid work, but it's not the kind of work that wins in this category, and it doesn't have the precursors to back it up. And good on Sean Bobbitt for finally getting nominated, but I don't see this happening for him. Third most likely to win is News of the World. So this movie was shot by director of photography Dariusz Wolski, and this is his first Oscar nomination despite shooting some very high-profile films like The Martian and Sweeney Todd. So good on Darius for getting his first nomination, and his work on this movie is very good. It is eye-catching. It's a Western. It's a lot of sweeping vistas and also a lot of effective cowboy shots. I don't know. It does the job very well. It's a worthy nomination. But News of the World was not the juggernaut we kind of thought it might be. It did not get a Best Picture nomination. It did not get anything above the line. It only got 4 nominations: cinematography, production design, score, and sound. So very much a tech movie, a tech player, a well-respected tech player. The nomination definitely makes sense. It's not going to look embarrassing down the line. People see it was nominated. It fits. It fits perfectly well as a nominee. I don't think it needs to win. Again, like with Sean Bobbitt, good on Darius for getting this first nomination. He's in the club now. Let's see what he does next. But I know it doesn't have the big prizes, and also the movie itself is not as well regarded as the top 2 movies in this category. So very good work. Good on you, Darius, for getting this nomination. Maybe a win will happen in the future. But for now, while this is very strong, solid work, I don't see it actually winning. Second most likely to win is Mank. Okay, so this movie was shot by Eric Messerschmidt. Eric Messerschmidt. I'm reading these names now. And this is his first nomination. And the work that he does on Mank, first of all, it's black and white. It's black and white cinematography, and it's cinematography that does make callbacks to one of the best shot movies ever made, Citizen Kane. So, of course, he's nominated. The nomination makes sense. For the longest time, we thought it was going to win. But here's the thing. As the time went by, people kind of soured on Mank a little bit. People were like, it's good, but they were kind of voting for it out of obligation. And the fact that it didn't get nominated for screenplay or for editing shows that the film as a whole lost a lot of passion. And it is the most nominated movie of the night, but it is weird. The work in this film is striking, but some would say not as visually striking as it could be. Not as visually striking as something like Roma, which was the last black and white movie to win. And I think that while the Academy loves to nominate black and white movies, I think you need a little bit more to it to win. And while this was looking very strong for a while as a cinematography winner, and I definitely think it's the number 2 in this race. I definitely think it's the number 2, but it's not going to win. And the reason it's not going to win is because of the number 1 choice, and that is Nomadland. So, as I'm sure I'm going to get into in later Oscar predicting videos, I liked Nomadland fine enough. it did not blow me away the way it blew so many other people away. And maybe that's because I'm too young and I don't connect with Fern as a character, or maybe it's because I've seen depictions of nomadic life depicted in other mediums, and so it didn't like it wasn't as eye opening for me as it was for many other people. Um, However, even though I'm not as high on the film, even I have to admit, the cinematography in this movie is really, really something, and even I have to admit it should win. Of this lineup, it is definitely my choice. The shot by Joshua James Richards. This is his first nomination, and it has a lot of wide open shots, similar to News of the World, but at the same time, it's like the use of color is so striking, where it's these very dark shadows, but also these just like hints of light. To, and and people have said, oh, it's symbolic of the darkness in Fern's life, and also the glimmer of hope that she strives towards. It's very striking imagery. It's imagery that it's hard to put a finger on why it grabs you, but it does. And so it's a and also we have to address the fact that this has won pretty much every major award. Let's pause. And also we have to address the fact that this has won pretty much every major precursor. I don't think ASC has happened yet, but it won Critics' Choice, and it won most of the Critics' Awards. And it's very easy to see why. And also Nomadland is the frontrunner. If not picture, it's certainly the frontrunner to win Best Director, and there is often a correlation between Best Director and Best Cinematography. And so, what can I say? It's a beautifully shot film. It's won everything. Nomadland has to win at least. I mean, it's probably gonna win Director. We'll get to that later, but I can't imagine Nomadland losing at this point. That's why it's the first movie that I talked about. A lot of the categories this year I'm not sure about, and I think there's some room for surprises, but this is one that I don't think there's going to be a surprise. I think we know. Nomadland looks beautiful. It's going to win at least this award. I'm fairly confident about that. So with that being said, thank you very much for clicking on this video, and join me next time, where I will be talking about Best Production Design.